Twins with an offensive explosion. They beat the A's on the West Coast 10-4. Byron Buxton, 5 ribbies. Full deep dive coming up next on the Minnesota Twins Postcast.
This is the Twins Postcast, your instant game reaction for the Minnesota Twins. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's going on back in the lab? Back at it. Another Minnesota Twins Postcast episode right here on the Locked On Sports Minnesota Network. Your team every day. Luke Inman at Luke_Spinman. Main man with me, Theo Tollefson. Give him a follow on X at Theater of Tollef1, Twins expert over at Zone Coverage MN. Just off the top here, Theo, Joe Ryan didn't have the best outing in the world. He was fine. He was good. Got through 5 innings. But how much fun do you think he had finally getting some run support early? I feel bad for these Twins starting pitchers this year.
Yeah, we didn't know what to expect coming into this ballpark tonight, what Joe Ryan would get out of this start. I think it was decent for the conditions he's pitching in, and I mean, that's kind of the situation you're hoping for any of these starters with the Twins for the remainder of these next 3 games. But yeah, getting the run support early, even though the A's creeped back up and got some of their own, but they didn't really show back up with the bullpen looking outstanding from there. So, yeah, I think he would definitely be happy with the run support he got tonight.
Yeah, definitely. Just a breath of fresh air. It feels like these starting pitchers, man, for the Twins this year have just had to shoulder the load, right? Put the team on their back. So Joe Ryan, again, best efforts tonight, got the dub, which is great to see. But again, Twins offensive explosion, 10 runs tonight. Feels good to see. Biggest turning point coming up, game MVP. But first, quick reminder, tonight's episode brought to us by Game Time. Game Time, download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. All right, quick little recap. Again, staying on the West Coast, had 3 with the Mariners, lost 2 of 3, but you stay on the West Coast for 4 versus the A's. Joe Ryan, again, on the mound, 5 innings, 4 earned, only 4 Ks, 3 walks. But again, for once a starting pitcher, didn't need to do it all himself and kind of put the team on his back. Offensive explosion tonight. Byron Buxton, 5 ribbies. Brooks Lee added 2. Ty France added 2 as well. Twins win this one 10-4. 32-27 now on the year. 5 games above 500. Just a beautiful offensive outburst we've been kind of waiting for. What were your kind of biggest takeaways or, A topics, I guess? What stuck out the most tonight for the Twins?
Yeah, it was just fantastic to see the bats come together, especially big moments. That 6-run second inning was huge. Everyone batted around. They all had their opportunities to contribute here tonight, and that's what we've been itching for. And it felt like something like that was needed in the last 2 games. We know we saw it on Friday night, which was fantastic, a late inning comeback, but it really took towards the 9th inning for them to get to where they were. So you take what you will, and you're happy to see that the run support came really early in this one, and that was the huge part about it. And I hope that they can take that away, and maybe this ballpark was going to be in favor of those types of conditions, but hopefully you don't have to stick just at a AAA ballpark when you leave here and head back home for the weekend series against Toronto.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
I don't think we've been able to say this all year. This was 6 rip in the 2nd inning for the Twins. But again, to your point, A's kind of battled back, had some huge opportunities. The Twins relief pitchers kind of stayed them off. But from your eyes, what was the biggest turning point from tonight? When was it and why?
When Joe Ryan got that second pop fly in the infield to get the second out in the 5th inning because they had the bases loaded.
Was huge.
You have to have it happen once. Okay, you still got 2 outs to get, and a lot of damage could be happening, and they could have tied the game up there. But again, the second one definitely had a zap in their lineup, just go away. So that was huge for him to get, and that really just set the things up for the bullpen to just throw with elite command. They did that. I know Cody Funderburk had a couple walks there in the 9th inning, but it was 10-4 at that point, and they were over and out.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
I think I know what direction you're going to go, but you never know. You could surprise me. Tonight's MVP for the Twins, again, 10-4 victory on the West Coast versus the A's. Tonight's MVP, who was it and why?
Oh, Byron Buxton, 100%. 5 RBI game. I know he had a misread in the outfield for that 3-run inning for the A's, but I think you can really make up for that easily. Getting 5 RBI, getting a stolen base, and just really contributing back in the lineup. I know easing him back into the lineup was a huge thing for them to do, considering he's had his 3rd concussion in May, and you want to take it easy with those guys, especially if they've had a lot more head trauma over the years versus Correa, who didn't have the same amount, but it's still something you want to be precautious with. So having him back in the lineup, looking like his same old self, that was huge for the Twins to have here tonight. And you take away what you can get, it's a good run. Hopefully you can keep that offensive surge going throughout the rest of this series, because it's still going to be a long one. There's still 3 games. You're going to get dealing with a lot of high heat and humidity, which will be great for the baseball and not great for the playing conditions, especially since the clubhouses are in the outfield at this ballpark and not behind the dugout. So you got a lot of just strange things to deal with, but you only got 3 more in the longest, strangest road trip of the season. So you hope you can just walk away with a few more victories here. Honestly, you hope you can get the sweep too, to really make this a really solid winning road trip, but 1 game at a time.
Yeah, A's absolutely struggling. I think 8th loss in a row, 16 of 19, something like that. Clearly a team you want to take advantage of when you get to September and look back, and you don't want to blow opportunities like this. And to echo your thoughts, Buck Truck MVP, well deserved. Plenty more deep dive from this one, including Twins' top prospects according to ESPN. That's all coming up right after this. Quick reminder, tonight's episode brought to us by FanDuel. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, an official sportsbook partner of the MLB. Right now, FanDuel's giving you a chance at a huge return, $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you win your first $5 bet. Why I love FanDuel? When you get the hunch in the middle of the game, go check out the latest stats. You can view live play-by-play, all on the same page where you place your bet. Again, $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you win your first $5 wager. Go check it all out over at FanDuel.com. Get in some MLB future action while you're there. Twins sitting at plus 150 right now to win the AL Central. All sitting up over at FanDuel.com. Again, check it all out over at FanDuel.com and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you win your first $5 wager. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, an official sportsbook partner of the MLB. Before we can get into some Twins prospect talk, nerdy stat of the daytime. You got any crazy stat or fun analytic Twins related tonight? What do you got?
Yeah, I know this wasn't the biggest strikeout game for Joe Ryan, but his 3rd out of 4 tonight got him to career number 600. So we will take that. He's now just got to get 9 to tie Everyday Eddie on the Twins all-time list and 10 to surpass him. So that's definitely obtainable for him in his next start out there, and that's huge to see. And also, I know this was tweeted out by Aaron Gleeman, but this was the 3rd time in the last 8 years that a Twin has had a 5 RBI in 1 game and a stolen base, and Buxton, of course, was one of them, and the other was Jorge Polanco 4 years ago. So a couple good ones to have out there today and walk away with in a huge win.
Yeah, still weird seeing Jorge over on this West Coast trip in the Mariners uni over there.
I think I'm a little more used to it. Second season in, it's a little easier to take. I think, even though the Twins finished their season in Philly, if Max Kepler is still there, it's going to be very odd to see him back and forth. I think that's the one that's going to stand out.
So last night, talked to Sweet Lou. The Athletic posted like the top 50 prospects in baseball. Twins had 3 on the list in the top 50, and then a 4th player as an honorable mention. It was Walker Jenkins, Emmanuel Rodriguez, 1-2, no surprise there in the top 20. Kalen Culpepper was the 3rd guy at 45, and then Connor Prelip, an honorable mention. Why I bring that up, I'm not going to go over that same ranking. ESPN just posted their own top 10 rankings for each team's prospects. So Walker Jenkins, Emmanuel Rodriguez, 1 and 2, bang, bang, no surprise there. Number 3 is not Kalen Culpepper. It's Luke Keyshaw, which, that makes sense as well for me. In fact, we talked about Luke Keyshaw could definitely be on that top 50 list as well. Charlie Soto, number 4, and Connor Prelip, number 5. Kalen Culpepper all the way down at 7. Just when you hear that top 5, though, how do you feel about, just where the Twins' young roster and core is already at? And then when you think about maybe the Twins' future, I guess, just their core nucleus they've got to build around, like, 1 to 10, what kind of shape are they in compared to, say, the rest of the league or maybe the AL Central?
Well, the AL Central has
the
really
AL
good farm
Central's
systems all around.
pretty stacked,
I think
actually. Yeah.
Kansas City's really the only one they stand out above right now.
Yeah.
I will admit I'm not high on Charlie Soto. So
Okay.
for pitcher list, the other site I write for right now, I get to do all the American League Central farm system rankings, and I just do top 10 lists. He's not even my top 10. Just how hard he throws has always concerned me. And
Young
I'm always
kid,
waiting
right?
for,
Drafted at 18.
He's only 19, and I'm always waiting for the other shoe to drop with young kids like that if they're throwing 100 miles per hour before they're 18 years old.
Sure.
Something bad's going to happen. So that's why I'm low on him. I hope he proves me wrong. Now, Dasan Hill is someone I'm actually a lot more hyped about, someone who was drafted in the last year. He's a lefty out of Texas and another prep arm that's going to be in low A Fort Myers all season, just like Charlie Soto was last year. But he's not as hard throwing. He's more of a crafty lefty right now. I'm sure the velocity will build up because he's only 18, 19 years old right now. So I think because he doesn't have as much on the velocity, that makes me a little more favorable to him because the harder you throw, the more vulnerable you're going to be to having these pitching lists, but injuries. So I agree on the consensus. This was the consensus coming into the season of Jenkins, Rodriguez, Keishel, top 3. Unfortunately, they're all still hurt. I know Hayes reported earlier today Jenkins was supposed to start a rehab assignment at the Florida Complex facilities in the Complex League in Fort Myers, but rained out. Rodriguez just got placed on the injured list today with a hip injury, so that's a setback, and we all know Luke Keishel's not going to be back till the All-Star break. So the top guy really to keep an eye on for the time being that's healthy is Kalen Culpepper, as we already mentioned. Really standout guy. He's been really raking it at Cedar Rapids. I think it's very likely he will get promoted to Double-A, depending how some of these roster moves shake up with some injuries across the organization. It's very likely he'll be there, I'd say, before this month is over. And then my number 5 guy right now is still Andrew Morris because he is the top pitching prospect at the top level. He hasn't had the best season, but he has had the best season among the rest of the Saints starters, regulars who are still in that prospect status. Marco Raya, Corey Lewis have just not been themselves. Lewis is on the IL now, I think, with an oblique strain. And Marco Raya has been just dealing with some more mental struggles that come with the game that have been affecting him on the mound. And he started to turn it around a little bit, but, he's still got a short leash. But I think, Prelip, he was just activated from the development list. He was just on there for a 10-day stint over this last week. He pitched, I want to say yesterday, 4 scoreless innings, gave 4 hits, but only 1 walk. And since he's a guy with an extensive injury history, they are definitely have more right to baby him with his workload compared to someone like Raya, even though the results for Raya definitely warrants why he shouldn't be going 5-6 innings right now. But it's all really good stuff. I mean, some of these guys can still be impact players. I think Keishel is going to be one of those impact bats for this team down the stretch in the dog days of summer once the pennant heats up. And you really have something to look forward to with Kalen Culpepper, maybe not this year, but next year, depending how the roster shakes up. So it's good to have all these guys and to be excited about them. But I think with where everything's at right now, it's not going to be some aggressive promotion for a lot of these guys to the next level with some injuries they've been battling and just the performances they've had. But there are still those standouts, your Morris, your Culpeppers, your Kyle DeBarges has already got 30 stolen bases in 30-some games. Man, it's a fantastic group to keep an eye on.
Great breakdown. Fantastic stuff. I'm an NFL draft nerd, as you know. I could sit here and listen to you talk about these Twins prospects literally all night. We got to keep moving. Maybe we save some of this for tomorrow night, another 9:05 start for the A's as well. But game 2, speaking of that, perfect segue, game 2 preview. That's all coming up right after this. Quick reminder, tonight's episode also brought to us by Prize Picks. Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app with more than 10 million members to date. For me and my money, I just swear by it. It's by far the easiest and most exciting way to get in on all the action while you watch your favorite sports and you watch your favorite players. So simple, too. All you got to do, you pick more or less on 2 or more players' stats, watch the winnings roll in. It could be strikeouts, could be RBIs, home runs, stolen bases, you name it, they got it. Take your pick on more or less. Add them to your Prize Picks entry today. Plus, they now offer Apple Pay, quick and easy deposits into your account all season long. Download the Prize Picks app. Use code LOCKEDONMLB for $50 instantly with any $5 wager. All right, game 2 tomorrow. Another late one. These West Coast trips keeping us up late. Pablo on the mound, though. Let's simplify it. What's just the number one thing you're thinking about or looking at as the Twins try to build some momentum back and I want to say stay hot, but they just lost 2 or 3 in Seattle. But you know what I mean. Try to get back on track, build some momentum.
Yeah, I mean, just hopefully get a quality start from Pablo. Just 6 innings, hopefully no more than 3 earned runs, not too many hits, and do what you did tonight. Repeat, rinse, and hopefully you get the same success. Get some big runs early, build up on those, build Pablo a comfortable lead so he can get a little deeper than he has in his previous starts, and hopefully that really leads to something good.
Last one before we get out of here, just broad AL Central or MLB talk. What's caught your eye for good or bad? We're over 2 months into the season now.
Mm-hmm.
What's sticking out for good or bad? Could be a specific player, specific team, whatever it may be.
I mean, let's stick within division since we're getting short on time tonight. We'll be back tomorrow. I think, the Tigers have been a surprise, and I will say I'm happy it's them and not the Yankees in first place in the American League, so we'll take that. But it's been a very competitive division, and this is exactly what people have always said the AL East is and should be every season, but this is just the AL Central with the White Sox hanging out at the bottom. But, hey, they're not the Rockies, so they will take that, even though the Rockies got their 10th win tonight, which took them so freaking long. Ugh.
Yeah.
It's so sad.
Can you imagine being a Rocky fan right now? But really being a diehard guy, there's a lot of casual surface MLB fans being a diehard right now. I don't know. Were they projected to be that bad this year?
No team is projected to be that atrocious. You just got to feel bad for them. Anyway, so Twins are staying in this. They're still a wild card spot if the season ended today, a third of the way through the year. So you got to take that. Now it's just a matter of making the most they have with this roster and making sure they don't repeat the same mistakes as last year.
Well said. Good stuff per usual. Twins expert, elite MLB mind. Theo Tollefson, give him a follow again on X at Theo Tollef1. Twins crushed the A's in game 1, 10-4, 32-27 now on the year. Huge shout out to all you guys, all the everydayers out there that always make us your first listen. All you guys coming in the chat with us from game to game. Make sure you like and subscribe. Luke Inman on X at Luke_Spinman. Again, late one tomorrow, now 9:05 first pitch. Game 2, Pablo on the mound. We'll catch you right here, same time, same place. But until then, signing out.